Some women believe that being low maintenance makes you easier to love, and in reality, it often just makes you easier to underserve. Ladies, today we are getting into a really good video about how to get comfortable asking for what you need, but also how to get comfortable receiving. If you are new here, of course, this is Get 'em Girl, a girl's guide to relationships, femininity, dating, polarity, and attraction. And I have a really good video for you ladies today, so let's just go ahead and hop into it. Okay, so let's get down to the root of what being low maintenance really is. A lot of women, they proudly proclaim, hey, I'm low maintenance, I'm easygoing, I'm not like those other demanding women. I'm just grateful for whatever, right? I'm just grateful for whatever. And it does come off very humble. It comes off very virtuous, okay? And quite honestly, it comes off that way to the men who don't have it to give anyways. And so for those women who do that, it does create this air of humility, right, ladies? What I need you to understand is the idea of being low maintenance and accepting whatever and not trying to ruffle his feathers or offend him by asking things. This does come from generations of past. And the reason that those generations had to do that, ladies, is because they did not have the basic rights that we have today. Okay, these women had to be easygoing and kind of be in the background and not ruffle their partner's feathers because it was basic survival. You're talking about women who could not go out and get a job. They could not go out and start a bank account in their own name. They literally depended hand and mouth for their partner to do everything for them. So they did everything they could to be appeasable to him. Okay, ladies? And on the surface, for us, it sounds like we're being humble, but it's actually rooted in, first of all, that. And so we were taught that coming into it. And what I'm telling you now is if you are the kind of woman who gets anxious when you need to ask a partner or someone you're dating for something, you get scared, you have a fear, it's not because you're humble. It's because you are scared of being rejected, number one, and you're scared of being abandoned if you ask for too much. You're actually afraid of that. That's what the root cause is. Those women, if they asked for too much or did too much, they were scared of their livelihood being taken away from them. They were scared of being abandoned. And that is where being low maintenance comes from. Okay? A fear of being perceived as difficult, a fear of making someone uncomfortable, getting on his nerves, making it to where he says, I'm done, making it to where he rejects you for having this standard. It's actually a fear. So it's not out of being virtuous because no woman actually wants to be low maintenance. I'm sorry, she doesn't. She's doing it out of this learned behavior from women who were trying to survive. Okay, so that's the real root of being low maintenance. It's not because it's just a humble thing. It's coming out of fear. And it kind of boomeranged itself into not only it being a fear, but now we have counter corrected it to where we are so strong and we are so independent and we don't have to depend on a man for anything so strongly that now it has made it even more difficult to be able to know how to receive from a partner. It's made it more difficult to learn how to ask from a partner because at the end of the day, I don't have to worry about being rejected. I don't have to worry about you being upset at me and my standards because I have my own now. So now even more so, I don't have to ask you for anything. Now even more so, I don't have to receive anything from you and I don't have to deal with that fear. Right, ladies? And the real cause of all of this is anxiety. It's fear. Okay, so I want to go ahead and point that out for the girlies who are, hey, if you get a nervousness in your chest and you like, I don't know how to ask him, I'm scared. If you get truly anxious at the idea of having to ask a partner for something, ask a man you're dating for something, you are not just humble, you are scared. And I'm going to tell you now, ladies, if your biggest flex on why a man should choose you to be in a relationship is how little you require, you are advertising your own neglect. You are advertising it. You are seeking people who will come and neglect you because you're telling them right now, hey, you ain't got to come over here doing too much for me. I'm not going to ask you for nothing. You don't have to give me nothing. You are advertising for your own neglect in a relationship. Here's the thing, ladies, about all of this. Men can only meet standards that they know about, okay? They can only meet standards that they can see. You cannot expect a person to honor needs that you have never clearly communicate it to them. A lot of women I've noticed move through relationships and they just hope that a man just knows. I just want him to know. If he really cared, he would know. Okay? If he really cared about me, he would just figure it out. I wouldn't have to ask anything. Ladies, it sounds romantic. If he wanted to, he would, and all of that. It sounds so romantic. But what you are actually doing is depending on what you think he should know, which is potential, okay? But also, it's creating this environment of this confusion mixed with resentment because now he's actually not knowing, which is the confusion. He don't know what you want, first of all. And then furthermore, you're resenting him for what you think he should know, but what he actually doesn't. And it's creating this cycle of disappointment. Okay, ladies, when you have not actually clearly told him the standard, told him the things. You cannot build a relationship on mind reading. You have to communicate the things that you need in a relationship. A man cannot consistently rise to a standard that you've never revealed and you've never clearly revealed it to him. That's the fantasy that I feel like a lot of us live in. We're kind of absorbed in this idea that true love feels effortless, right? He'll be calling and he'll be doing and I won't have to say a word and all of this. That's not how this works. People need to be communicated a standard. If you go and you start a job, no matter how much you know about the field, you're going to ask them, what are the expectations you have for me in this role? What do you expect me to be getting done? Why? Because you're not going into this role and just guessing at what these people want you to do. You need to know clearly so that you can execute your job in an effective way. It's the same thing in relationship. Even a well-intentioned man needs some sort of direction. People feel like, hey, if I have to tell them, then it's forced. No, it's not. Clarity is not what's killing the romance. The fact that you're creating a condition where he has to guess and then he's not doing it because he's not a mind reader, that's what's killing the romance, okay? And here's the thing, your silence on the topic is still communicating something to him. So you can think, hey, if I don't have to tell him, that's the perfect scenario, so I'm not going to say anything. Your silence is still communication. So if you're not telling him anything and you're not saying that something is wrong or you're not saying that you need something, he's thinking that you don't actually need it. Your silence is communicating that you don't have an expectation for that thing. You're still sending a message when you're not opening up your mouth. You're saying to him that this is acceptable. This is my standard. This is enough. Okay, so even if you're intentionally trying to give him the floor to figure it out on his own, in his mind, he can completely be thinking she's not saying anything because she's happy with how it is. We cannot expect people to guess. And what you keep tolerating repeatedly and repeatedly is going to become the new relationship standard. So if you keep going on in silence thinking he should be able to guess at what you want, and that's why you're afraid to ask because you want him to guess and you want it to be romantic. I'm telling you now, you are teaching him that it is all okay because you haven't opened up your mouth to say what it is that you need. You are training him to give you bare minimum behavior. Okay? If you want an intentional date night, but he comes over and he's ready to Netflix and you like, okay, well, we're going to do this. I need him to figure it out. And you just sitting around mad, but you hadn't said anything. You're training him that that's okay. Your silence is not saying anything other than she's okay with this. You have to stop trying to make it to where he's guessing at the thing. And I know you don't want to seem demanding. I know you don't want to seem controlling or dramatic, but there is a huge difference in being easygoing and then being the woman who actually has expectations and just knows how to clearly get those across. We are not trying to be the woman who is training a bare minimum habit. So, a few examples of how we can use our words to communicate instead of just having this kind of, lingering passive disappointment when something is not going our way. And we're sitting there, we're like, well, I wish he would plan something. Okay. How about you let him know, hey, I feel the most cared about when there's an intentional date planned. I feel cared about. I know that you want to come over in Netflix and all of that. I get it, but I feel the most cared about from you when you intentionally plan something for us to do together. At that point, do you sound demanding or do you sound like a woman communicating a standard? Do you get what I'm saying? Instead of just hoping that he does little small things like bring flowers, bring a little box of chocolates and some flowers, bring a card, come over, do the small things instead of just being mad when he doesn't. How about you say, hey, small little thoughtful gestures just randomly, they actually speak a lot to me. They actually mean a lot to me. Does that sound like a woman who is being demanding, or does that sound like a woman who is communicating a standard? That's saying more than you just being a silent, disappointed person on the side looking at him and just expecting. That says a lot more than that will. Ladies, your silence is not what's going to communicate the message. Your words and learning how to intentionally communicate what you need out of a person, that's what's going to get you the result. And furthermore, sometimes it's not even that our men are not doing the things. Sometimes it's us ladies not being comfortable with receiving. And I'm going to tell you, as crazy as it sounds, learning how to receive is actually a skill, and it's a feminine skill. Okay, it's deeper than you just getting some flowers and gifts and these different things. It's really about your relationship with yourself. A lot of women are more comfortable giving out and pouring out than they are receiving. And I feel like most women, they want to be pursued and poured into, but as the strong woman trope has been taught to us, as the be quiet and don't ruffle any feathers has been taught to us, the moment that we are in a situation that a person is giving and pouring into us, a lot of us tense up. A lot of us get scared. We downplay it or we deflect it. We get to feeling guilty about what they wanted to do for us. We rushing trying to reciprocate, rushing trying to, oh, he bought me something, let me go get him something. I don't want him to feel like we're rushing trying to make sure their pleasure is level with our pleasure. Ladies, you have to get comfortable being cared for. Receiving requires comfort. Okay, receiving requires you to feel valued. You have to feel it because you feel safer giving out right now, but you have to get comfortable with people pouring into you. Okay, it feels easy when your identity is kind of based around being useful. Once again, that's where that strong woman thing comes in, being effective and being useful, and anticipating other people's needs and being nurturing and pouring out and over functioning is what it is. We feel a sense of control when we are the ones giving out. We have the say so. We're in a powerful position when we're the ones giving out because it means that we are controlling the emotional dynamic. By being the one who is giving, I am the one who is making it where we are good right now. I'm the one who's making it to where things are seamless right now. I'm the one that's giving us this positive reinforcement, this positive surge of emotion in our relationship because I'm the one giving. Do you get what I'm saying? When you're receiving, it requires you to surrender to the moment that someone else is creating. It's letting yourself be seen, it's letting yourself be considered, you're being cared for, and it's creating a sense of you being valued and you being put on a pedestal. And that creates vulnerability because you feel most comfortable when you control when you feel that way. It really is it's a skill to be valued. And women have gotten so comfortable with earning love, feeling like they have to perform for love and do things for love, that is really uncomfortable when you start to receive it and you haven't actually done anything. That is different for the woman who is used to over functioning. When you start to receive things and you haven't even done anything to earn them, it gets uncomfortable. It's a guilt response. It's very much so a guilt response that you didn't have to do that. Oh no, this is too much. You didn't have to spend your money. And hey, it sounds like you're being polite. That's what it sounds like. But it's actually just an inability to sit in the position of being poured into. Okay? It sounds like humility. It's actually discomfort with being valued. Do you get what I'm saying? And it is conditioning. We feel like we have to earn love. We feel like care comes with like strings attached, and being provided for means that you're not independent anymore, and all these different things. Receiving does not mean that you're not an independent woman. Receiving does not mean that you are somehow underneath the other person. Receiving is not something that makes you greedy. Okay, it does not make you entitled. It's not any of those things. A woman who knows how to receive is usually healed from the belief that she constantly has to prove her worth. And if you are uncomfortable receiving, it's because you feel like you have to prove why you deserve this thing. I need to provide value so that I can have this thing. I need to be doing something in order for you to want to give me this thing, because then I'll feel better about it. Then I'll feel like there's this transaction that is more even in my eyes. Women who know how to just receive, and they're not performing, they're not working, they're not doing anything that they feel like is trying to earn the thing, they usually have a really good sense of value about themselves. They know that they don't have to perform and do all the things and make it even and make it a transaction. They have a internal value system that allows them to receive and know that they deserve it. And so I need you to understand, once you become comfortable receiving, asking for what you want, asking for what you desire, it don't feel like you're demanding anything of the person. It just feels like you're being honest. That's the difference between what a woman who is uncomfortable with and a woman who is comfortable with understands. Okay? Once you get to the point where you can receive well and you can ask for things easily, it's because you realize, hey, I'm just being honest about the things that I need. It's not because I'm entitled, it's because I have a standard and I'm very honest about my standard. And until you reach that point, it's always going to feel like you are being entitled. And quite frankly, ladies, asking for something is not demanding. Needing something from the person that you're involved with does not make you demanding. Okay? I think what a lot of us struggle with is not realizing that when you ask for a need, when you communicate a standard, that's actually healthy communication. When you need something and then you open your mouth and you say it to the person in a way that they can receive it, that's healthy communication. That is not you being entitled. That's not you actually trying to control them and use them. That's just honesty, ladies. Okay? And the difference between demanding for something and then asking for something is you're not trying to manipulate an outcome. You're not trying to force an outcome, because that's what a demanding person is. You're not trying to pigeonhole somebody into doing something that they clearly don't want to do, but you're trying to make it happen anyways. Okay, you're not trying to weaponize guilt. You're not doing any of those things. You're clearly communicating something that you need, and you let the response be what the response is. Being okay saying, hey, this matters to me when you do this. I need this. And then letting that person have their own response to it, that is completely okay. That is how you ask without being entitled. A mature woman knows how to communicate her desires. If you were entitled, you would literally be going after compliance. It don't matter how I ask. It don't matter how I got to manipulate. It don't matter what words I got to say. I'm going to say them so that I get this thing. It don't matter how I got to get it. Ladies, that is entitlement. Okay, that is not the same thing as a woman who is communicating a standard. And here's the thing, the right man is not intimidated by healthy standards. He's just not. If anything, it gives him clarity on how he needs to move with you. So a healthy man, he's not worried about that. It's really men who want to give you low effort, who weaponize being high maintenance. Those are the ones who are like, hey, she asking for more than I'm willing to give. And so now I'm going to make her feel guilty for even asking, right? Because he doesn't want to do the work. And so he's going to make you feel guilty for even opening up your mouth about something that you actually should be asking for. So I need you to understand the difference between those two different men. A man who is not afraid of effort. He's not afraid to stand up and be masculine and do what he needs to do for a relationship that he wants. Mind you, this is a relationship that he wants because he's with you. Hello. If he's wanting this relationship, he's okay with the standards that come with this relationship. He's not going to make it seem like you're asking for too much. He's not going to make it seem like you're being demanding or doing too much. He's going to realize that you're being honest about the things you need from him. And then he's going to realize, hey, her being so honest about this makes it easier for me to do the things. Okay, it's not that you're trying to control a person, it's that you're letting them know about the treatment that you expect from a partner. And here's the thing, if they don't want to do it, they don't have to be there. That's the truth of it. That's why you're not entitled, because you can very well tell me no on everything that I'm asking you for. Just know that actions have consequences. And if you're going to tell me no on the things that I'm telling you that I need out of this, if you're going to tell me no every time I ask you about something, if I'm going to hear a no every time I ask you to step up and be the man in a situation, if I keep hearing no, you just won't be here. But you can tell me no, right, ladies? You're not trying to control his yes or no, but hey, there is a consequence that comes behind it. And it's not the consequence that I'm going to make you do it. The consequence is, hey, you won't be the person in this position because I'll have to get someone who can meet the standard. And so you have to know your worth and you have to be secure in that. And here's the thing, men appreciate the direction. Yeah, they want to know what makes you feel cared for. They want to know these things. They want to know what matters to you because that clarity makes it easier for him to do his job. So, ladies, you do not have to keep auditioning to be accepted. You do not have to keep trying to be low maintenance to be accepted. You do not have to fear a rejection. You don't have to do any of those things because they're not actually helping you. They're getting you with a man who's going to come in and he's going to be low effort. The goal isn't to become, how do I want the goal isn't to become easier to choose. Right? We're not trying to make it easy to be chosen. That's not necessarily the goal. Okay. What we want to do is become easier to understand. We want to become easier for them to discern so that when they are in the position of being our person, they can easily do their job because they know what comes with it. They understand what comes with it, ladies. So, ladies, I hope that this video was helpful because I feel like if you get a good understanding of where this comes from, you can better and more effectively fix the problem, right, ladies? It's about the clarity of understanding what this issue actually is in ways that you can go about fixing it, okay? Of course, you know that I'm not leaving you without giving you your verse of the day. We're going to be in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15. Look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise. Okay, ladies, I want to thank y'all again for tuning in to another video. I hope once again that this was helpful, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.